Hey everybody, let's go ahead and get chat up, comments on. There we go. How are you guys? I hope you are doing well. So we're going to be talking a little research on how strong you have to be able to kill a full adult sized male. Ethan Chapin is a very athletic individual. Um, I believe he could overpower most individuals if it was just a fair hand-to-hand combat. This killer chose to come in at night when everybody is sleeping, waiting until everybody is in their beds. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And oh, you don't want to miss this. Hey, Rosebud, good morning to you. Good morning, Sassafras. I love you too. Morning, Gypsy Rose. Love you, Allie. Leonard Love, good morning. Skipping in a straitjacket. Merry Christmas. It was incredible. It really was the steak. So last night, you guys, my Christmas didn't start till real late at night. And my son got off work and he makes the best steak ever. Well, he made the best steak last night. I kid you not. And he surprised me with a Snicker cake. So it was about an hour of him and me alone and just enjoying our Christmas time together. We didn't even have a gift for one another other than our love, and it was the perfect Christmas. Um, my youngest comes home today from grandma's, and so we'll get to spend some more time. But I am coming on later tonight. Thank you for asking. That was very sweet. Whoops. What did I do? I forget I'm on my phone. CY Kyle, good morning to you. Canadian Cookie. Lala, good morning. Don Patterson. And Nikki B, Merry Christmas to you folks. Carla and Little Darling, good morning, everyone. So, we're going to be talking about how strong, how physically strong does the killer have to be in order to overpower four individuals in their sleep, in the dark, at their home? And I'm just asking your opinion, could the killer be a female? We have heard a lot of whispers out there on YouTube land talking about it's plausible, it's possible, but we don't know if it's fact. But we do know that the rumor is out there that Dylan, the female on the far, well, if you were looking directly at the screen, it'd be your far left. Dylan was a survivor, and it's alleged that she was actually on the second floor. We don't know if it's true, but that's what's being whispered on YouTube land. If you look directly across from her on the other outside, framing this group, is Bethany, and she's on the outside snuggled up against Xana. And then, Eric is the gentleman in the back. That is Xana's boyfriend. And then we have Kaylee holding up Maddie. And if you look, it almost looks like those are the exact clothes that they wore out that night. I know those are the shoes for Maddie, and I know for a fact that those are the same pants. I shouldn't say fact. In my humble opinion, the pants that Kaylee is wearing, okay, are the same ones in the picture. They've got the same rip in the knee. You know, I just think these are the same clothes. And so for me, the rumor that this picture was taken just hours before they went out, kind of, I believe it to be true. Ah, Lala, I love you too. Miranda, I think it makes a huge difference whether Ethan was asleep, impaired, or waking up. Good point. Kathy McCallie says, good morning, Mama D. Good morning, my dear. Oh, I'm trying to scroll. Xanimus, agreed, Miranda. Natural Healing Danny, I bought your cards yesterday. I did a few readings on Idaho 4. I keep getting female involved in the killings. Interesting. All right. So I'm going to lower the pictures and we're going to deep dive for a minute on other killers, and I'm going for, let me put it this way. I am researching today if a female would have the strength or the ability to use a large knife, one, in an efficient way to actually take a life. Um, and then to also, could she overpower a male, right? Um, Whether they're impaired or not, could she? Could she overpower a male if she has a knife? So that's what we're gonna look at. Hey, Lizanne Grobler. Hello, hello. Claudia Poncella and Skittles and Jenny. Good morning, my beautifuls. Are you ready to do a little deep dive? I think I am. Okay, let me get out of all this. Let's get out of this completely. Okay, I saved it all here for us. Hey, Joyful Dolphin. Skittles wrote something. Hey, Mama D, I didn't get the code yesterday. Thanks. What do you mean you didn't get the code, love? I emailed out the code to whoever I received an email to that was a winner. So if you could just hit me up, Skittles, again at rubberducky2005 at yahoo.com, and that way I can get that to you because yeah, and it's only good till tonight. So make sure that you get in touch with me. Remember, it's at yahoo.com and it's rubberducky2005, all lowercase with a Y. Kathy McCallie said, so Ethan found on floor in hall or in a room. We do not know where Ethan was found. We really don't. The police did state that the doors were all closed in one of their first pressers. And so if Ethan was in the hallway, that's one thing. But if Ethan is in the bedroom, that's another thing. We have this rumor about calling for one of the roommates dialing the 911 call, but other people talking. The police are stating friends were called over. Is it possible that Ethan was behind the door in Santa's room with the door locked and they couldn't get in? And so, I mean, if you were pounding on somebody's door for a while and you can't get in, it's locked, that would almost make me think of calling over like a male friend that's willing to go through the bedroom window, or I might even go outside and try to like pound on their window, look in their window, see what's going on. If their window was something I could open, I would open it. But if I couldn't resolve it myself, that's when I would call friends, because if I didn't see blood and I didn't see a body, I'm not going to call 911 until I even know if they're in there. Because what if they left early in the morning before I got up, they shut and locked their door? Then I'm calling 911 and I'm like, I thought they were in there, maybe not responding. So something had to have occurred where, if this is true, that the victims called friends first, it would be highly suspicious, in my opinion, if they had seen Ethan's body. So in my personal opinion, if you're wanting to know Mama D's thoughts, I personally feel that Ethan and Santa were inside that room with the door closed and locked, as well as all the doors in the house were locked, I believe. Like, I think the killer purposely did that to stall. Lala says, of all people to call, they called Ethan's brother Hunter, right? So that in itself, like, muddies the waters, co-mixes DNA, makes it very complicated already. Okay, Skittles, make sure, lovely, that you do email me, because that's the only way I can get you the code. Okay, she says, oh, okay, will do, Mama D, thanks. Yeah, you have to email me, and then I can get you the code. I got to get more comfortable before we start this. Are you ready to dig in? We don't really know, Xanimus, the issue of the order of the killings. Nobody has from the police department released the order of the killings, and I don't believe they would do that even with parents, because that is actually key to the case and is considered like the control question that you would definitely use to determine if this killer was really the killer, if they did confess, is they would need to know the order of the victims. So I don't believe that would be released under any circumstance while we're in an active investigation, just from my prior experience. Everybody has, I believe, their own opinion as to the orders of the killings. But I hear more frequently that this killer had to be strong, that this killer had to be physically strong to be able to pull this off, to overpower these individuals. So, are you ready? Here we go. So this is the Daily Mail, and it was written in January of 2014. Selfies of a female serial killer on the run, woman who stabbed 3 men in the heart, pictured with the terrifying knife while dodging police with her alleged accomplice. Now, we're going to get into this. She didn't just kill 3. She ends up being a true serial killer. So check this out. This girl looks like she weighs about 100 pounds soaking wet. Look at the blade, right? Now she is very different. Let me see if I can, I don't know if I can enlarge these. I guess I can't enlarge them. Look at this. Yep. She pulls her shirt up, shows her underwear. She's got her handcuffs hanging off. This is one of the males. Now look at this. Okay, let's go back. I got to close off chat for a minute just so I can see the writing below, you guys. So give me a minute. We're going to go back. Okay. Joanna Dennehy, 31, poses for a photo with a terrifying knife while she is on the run for stabbing 3 men in the heart. So she's on the lam, as they say. They're looking for her. She poses this picture and posts it. Joanna Dennehy poses in another shocking photo with her top lifted, exposing her underwear. The woman has admitted killing 3 and attempted murder of 2 others. Joanna Dennehy's alleged co-conspirator, Gary Stretch Richards, poses for a photo. He denies 3 counts of preventing the lawful and decent burial of a body and 2 counts of attempted murder. Mark Lloyd left and Gary Richards poses for a photo. Moments later, Dennehy tried to stab another 2 men to death. Richards swears at the camera and sticks his tongue out. Victim Lucas Slabazinski. He looks healthy as can be, right? Final victim was Kevin Lee. John Chapman was also stabbed to death by the 31-year-old. Look at that. And yeah, John Chapman. And we happen to have, Ethan Chapman in the other case, in the Idaho case. So she killed this man. Pictured is the knife used by Joanna Dennehy to attack her 5 victims. The latter 2 men survived the attacks. There she is, killer. Joanna Dennehy stabbed 3 men in a 10-day spree of violence. Okay? Now let's get back to the story. Let me get you guys back up on the screen. What do you think of that, you guys? Were they drugged or anything? That's why the toxicology is important. Hi, Claudia. Natural healing. I know it's really light, so it's hard to see the chat. Okay. It's very dark. There's more. I've got other cases to show you guys, but we're going to dig into this for a minute. Oh, my online boyfriend, Minopon, Chris. Okay. Joanna Dennehy, 31, pictured in a series of shocking selfies, seen posing with a large knife in her underwear while on the run. Come here, Gretchen. Come on. Her alleged accomplice, 7 feet 3 inch, Gary Stretch Richards, 47, also pictured. Dennehy also admitted stabbing 3 men in the heart. See, I told y'all. Women can do this. And dumping the bodies. She has also pleaded guilty to attempting murders of 2 other men. Richards and another alleged accomplice, Leslie Layton, are currently on trial. Court heard Dennehy compared herself and Stretch to Bonnie and Clyde. These are the chilling Okay, those are the pictures I showed you. Joanna Dennehy, 31, has admitted stabbing 3 men in the heart and dumping their bodies in ditches. The bodies of her 3 victims were found in fields near Peterborough, Cambridgeshire, in March and April last year. Despite killing the 3, Dennehy remains unsatisfied and fled to Hereford in search for more victims a jury heard. She cruised the city and selected 2 other men at random, stabbing Robin Beerza, 64, and John Rogers, 56, who survived the cold-blooded attacks. Alleged conspirators Gary Stretch Richards, 47, and Leslie Layton, 37, who are now on trial at Cambridge Crown Court, deny helping to cover up the terrible truth of the murders. So her accomplices were simply covering it up. She did the killing. Pictures of Dennehy and Richards were shown to the court as Mark Lloyd, an associate of the men, gave evidence. Georgina Page, a friend of Dennehy's, also gave evidence today. The shocking images include one of Dennehy's jovial sticking her tongue out as she brandishes a jagged knife with handcuffs attached to her trousers. All right, so we talked about the pictures. Let's see. Okay. Dennehy of Orton Goldhay, Peterborough, Cambridgeshire, pleaded guilty to the 3 murders and 2 attempted murders at the Old Bailey in November. She also admitted preventing the law and decent burial of all 3 victims and is custody awaiting sentencing. Her victims were her lover, Kevin Lee, 48, his friend, Lucas Slabazinski, 31, and housemate, John Chapin, 56. They all were together. So, as the pictures were shown to the jury today, Mr. Lloyd revealed he had been forced to watch on helplessly as Dennehy tried to kill 2 strangers in Hereford. Mr. Lloyd, who met Dennehy at a friend's flat in Kington, and we're dealing with Kings Road. Okay. Herefordshire, on April 1st, shortly before the attempted murders, told the court she stank of blood. That's why I said blood has a smell. He said she told him, I've killed 3 people, Gary. Help dispose of them, and I want to do some more. I want some fun. Mr. Lloyd said Dennehy became flirtatious with him. Excuse me, I got a cough. Sorry about that. Mr. Lloyd and Dennehy became flirtatious with him before asking him to come in the car when she carried out the attacks. He said she was caressing my backside and running her hand down my neck. It was like being touched by a rattlesnake. Mr. Lloyd said he watched helplessly as Dennehy was driven around Hereford looking for people to kill. He described the 2 attacks on random dog walkers as like a scene from the film Psycho. It was frenzied. She just went absolutely mad. She takes a knife out of her left pocket with her right hand. She strikes him like in the film Psycho, just like that, thrusting and putting her whole weight behind it. I just kept saying, what the F is going on? I haven't signed up for this. Gary is seeing exactly what I'm seeing, and there's no emotion from him at all. Mr. Floyd said Dennehy returned to the car and kissed Stretch on the cheek as if to say thanks. He said the second attack was a brutal rerun of the stabbing just moments earlier. After the second knife attack, Mr. Lloyd said Dennehy returned the victim's dog in her arms and declared it was her new pet. Mr. Lloyd said it was terrified of her. It was physically shaking on her lap. She wanted to take the dog for a walk. He added that Dennehy treated 7-foot, 3-inch Stretch like a puppy and said the giant would be dead if the killer hadn't needed him to drive her around. Georgina Page then told the court how she and Dennehy became friends while serving jail sentences together. She said she next saw her former cellmate when she and Stretch turned up on the doorstep in Kingsland, North Fork, following the murders. She said, when I was inside with her, she wasn't a murderer or nothing. At first, I didn't believe her. I was very shocked. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. The court also heard that during the pair's stay at Mrs. Page's house, Dennehy was jumping around in delight at seeing her face on the news. Miss Page said the killer downed whiskey and ate a ham sandwich while bragging about her violent acts. She said, I was terrified. Stretch turned around and said that if anyone grasped on them, he would get his dad to sort them out. Jonah was talking about something and saying, we're going to get caught and sent for jail for a long time. She also said Dennehy compared herself to Stretch to Bonnie and Clyde, whose gang killed 9 policemen in 1930s America. And when she asked her why she'd killed, Dennehy responded, they shouldn't have pissed me off. They shouldn't have flirted with me. A picture of the knife believed to be used in all 5 attacks was also shown to court and described as the 9-inch fold knife. Mr. Lloyd said he saw the same knife in Dennehy's hands at a flat in Hereford occupy his friend Moby. It was there that Dennehy took pictures of herself and Stretch as they prepared to drive around the city in a bid to kill again. Mr. Lloyd told the jury that the blade was as black as the handle because of all the congealed blood and that smelt like copper. He said Dennehy told him, I've killed 3 people. Gary's helped dispose of them, and I want to do some more. You've had your fun, Gary. I want my fun. Mr. Lloyd also revealed that Dennehy flirted with him and caressed his neck and backside. He told the court, she said, I wish I could have met you last year. You're my type of guy. He said that Stretch was not liking it one bit. Before the 3 of them got in the green Valhall Astra, that the killer had traveled in from Petersboro. Mr. Lloyd then said he tried to call the police while Stretch drove around Hereford looking for victims for Dennehy, but he failed to do so and told the court that Gary was the taxi driver. She went around killing people. The trial continues. Skittles. Just letting you know, I'm not the killer. I don't even live in Idaho. I live in New Zealand. Got ya. Okay? So for those of you that try to tell me that a woman could not use a big knife and kill 4 victims in their sleep in their beds, I beg to differ. Are you ready? Are you ready? Because there's so much more, you guys. C.Y. Kyle says maybe the killer didn't kill the other 2 roomies so that everyone would be preoccupied blaming them. Ah, now that's interesting. Sanima says crazy, sad. My gosh, I know. Lala, Skittles? Lala is saying, so you're saying the killer left the country, Skittles? Oh, Pennywise is in the room? Well, Pennywise could be the killer. He likes watching this stuff. Or she, right? Oh, I'm skipping like a CD? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Are you ready to keep going? There's so much more to cover. Claudia's ready. Anybody else? Because I did my own research. I typed in Google, female serial killer with knife. Boom, here we are. This is on Closer. Says, female serial killer who has committed up to 100 murders reveals she added notches to her knife for every death. A 19-year-old American woman who claims to have killed dozens during her short life has admitted she kept a tally of how many people she murdered by making notches on her favorite knife. Miranda Barbour, who lured her latest victim to his death by advertising herself as a companion on Craigslist, an American internet notice board, is now campaigning to be spared the death sentence because she believes it's cruel and inhumane. Oh my gosh. According to Miranda, she adopted an alter ego called Super Miranda to kill people who had abused children or owed money. That's so strange. Or owed money. You borrowed $6. You're done for, right? What? And went around administering her brand of vigilance. Oops, I clicked on an ad. Vigilant justice. In an interview she gave with Daily Item, newspaper from Sunbury, Pennsylvania, Barbour said the killings had taken place across Alaska, Texas, North Carolina, and California over a 6-year period. The Satan-worshipping teenager has been compared to the TV show Dexter because she claims she only kills bad people, just like the programmer's lead character in the hit series. Barbour has claimed she is commanded by a cult leader from the town of North Pole, Alaska, saying she joined the cult at the age of 13 and was taught to kill by an unnamed man. Quote, he said to me that it was my turn to shoot him. I hate guns. I don't use guns. I couldn't do it. So he came up behind me and took his hand and put them on top of mine, and we pulled the trigger. And then from there, I just continued to kill. Miranda moved from Alaska to North Carolina 3 years ago, where she met her husband, Elite, 22. She also has a son from a previous relationship to a man who is now deceased. His death is under investigation. Her current husband allegedly assisted with the killing of Miranda's latest victim, Troy LaFera, whom Miranda met over Craigslist, stabbed 20 times, and then dumped his body. Elite revealed that Miranda's meetings with her internet companions were not sexual in nature, and that she only advertised herself as someone who could give delightful conversation and companionship. Miranda has now said she is happy to cooperate with authorities to locate the bodies of her various victims, saying, I can pinpoint on a map where you can find them. In a chilling statement, Ms. Barbour said her husband was proud of what she did, but that she didn't want to be released because she knew she would kill again. Right? Is that not crazy? I just... wow. That's just crazy to me. If it was Dylan, I wonder what her motive would be, asked CY Kyle. Wise Angel, they always link serial killers to cults and devil worship along the way. Right? Claudia Poncello, what the question mark? Sicko. Another whack job. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going, guys. We got more. Okay, this is a different thing. This is true. It's on A&E. It's True Crime Blog and Stories. Check it out. Guns, Knives, Hands. Why Killers Choose Specific Murder Methods. All right? Warning. The following contains disturbing descriptions of violence. Reader discretion is advised. John Wayne Gacy preferred strangulation, wrapping a rope around his victim's neck. He'd then tie it to a hammer and twist it until they suffocated, although he stabbed to death his first known target. Ed Gein would shoot his victims before using a knife to carve the skin from their dead bodies, using it as a macabre fabric for skin suits, lampshades, and seat covers. Ted Bundy was known for bludgeoning his victims with a metal rod or a crowbar first, before sexually assaulting and then strangling them. One of the first known serial killers in America, H. Holmes, chose poison gas as his method of murder, killing as many as 200 victims in a hotel he opened in Chicago in 1893, later dubbed the Murder Castle. He would either fill the rooms with deadly vapor or slip a little something into the guests that he had in his possession. What is it that makes a murderer choose one killing method over another? Sometimes it's what they derive pleasure from, but other times it's a matter of what's most convenient. A&E True Crime spoke with experts about murder weapon preferences and what they mean. Strangulation is personal. Murder by strangulation tends to be personal, according to Eric Beauregard, Ph.D., a professor of the School of Criminology at Simon Fraser University. He says the murderer likely doesn't want to remove themselves from the act by stepping back and firing a gun. They prefer placing their hands on the victim and taking away their life in a close and personal manner. Quote, the majority of these types of murderers enjoy the personal contact and the fact that they're the one causing death. Beauregard tells A&E True Crime is bringing them a feeling of power and control. Some killers prefer strangulation with the option of keeping their victims alive a bit longer. Quote, I've interviewed offenders that were using strangulation to make the victim pass out, not necessarily to kill her right away, says Beauregard, who has spent most of his career on sexual homicides, murders committed during or after sexual assaults. Knives are weapons of convenience. Serial killer Herb Mullen, who murdered 13 people in 1970s, believed that his stabbing people to death was the only way California would be spared from another deadly earthquake. He did choose other methods occasionally, like a gun or a baseball bat, but seemed to prefer a knife. Why stab? Well, the simple answer is that knives are easier to obtain than guns. They're readily available. Most homes have a few. Easy to use and easy to conceal. A knife can be a very innocuous thing until it's not. Stabbing is the preferred murder weapon in countries where strict gun laws exist. Japan, China, Germany, and the UK, for example, see far more murders by stabbing than the U.S., prompting some countries to ramp up anti-knife campaigns. Poison is the pick of killers with medical backgrounds. In a 2020 interview, Joni Johnston, a forensic psychologist and private investigator, told A&E True Crime that poison is more often the pick of murderers in medical professions. These kinds of killers are already familiar with medications and chemicals that will kill, and they know how to administer them. The same is true in terms of at-home caretakers or workers in nursing homes. Johnston said 90% of all poisoners kill someone they know. Typically, the motive is money, though sometimes it's revenge. Guns as a weapon of compliance. The most popular murder weapon in the United States today by far is a firearm of some kind. Every year in the United States, more than 15,000 people are murdered by someone with a gun. But often, they are not premeditated killings. The majority of homicides that occur in this country are escalated disputes. Jacina Pizarro, Ph.D., editor of Homicide Studies and professor at Arizona State University School of Criminology and Criminal Justice, tells A&E True Crime. That would indicate that most would be spontaneous. Pizarro says those who choose guns often do so because they want compliance. A robber, drug dealer, or rapist may choose a gun for their crimes because they know someone being threatened with a gun is likely to comply. Of course, for those set on murder, Pizarro says guns are viewed as a way to get the job done faster. Not every murderer takes pleasure in seeing someone die. There are definitely people who get something from watching people die, but that's not your average killer, Pizarro says. Those are the outliers. I'm going to stop right there. So this killer would be an outlier, right? Somebody that chooses to visually witness the death, isn't afraid to watch death, and knows that once he sees the first victim go through the agonizing death, that he's going to have to follow through with the other deaths or basically risk very much so getting caught. Somebody dialing 911. So this is somebody very familiar with death, I would assume, just out of my personal opinion. Murderers who drag it out. And that's what I feel this is with it being a bloodbath, okay? Here we go. Murderers who drag it out. And then there are murderers who choose sadistic rituals and long drawn-out method of killing. Lawrence Bittertaker and Roy Norris, known as the Toolbox Killers. Now there, again, you guys, there are two people teaming up as murderers, known as the Toolbox Killers, would rape and torture their victims using items from a toolbox, pliers, an ice pick, a sledgehammer before killing them. In cases of sexual homicide, you have offenders that will present a sadistic approach to their killings, says Beauregard. For them, it's not just a matter of causing death, it's a process that's important. So feel free to go check these different stories out. And let's get back over. There we go. Then I can see chat. Can I make chat bigger? No. Okay. Let's see what's going on over here. Sanima, sick F clown Gacy, right? Okay, Skittles says they have no remorse at all, no feelings whatsoever. Katie Bug, you're either on the good side or bad side. God knows which one you are. So true. Natural Healing says killers make it sound easy and no remorse. Wise Angel, I wonder if she killed while in jail. Good question. Aw, Kathy's got a shovel. Have a good day, lovely. Nan's Life, I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Many I speak with believe it to be one killer. Whoa. Uh-oh. I lost it. There it is. I'm still stuck on how 4 could be killed the way they were, where they were, and the time they were by one person. Afton Thompson, good to see you. That's true. But I've had this feeling the killer is a female and she was either a family member or was really close to one or more of the victims. Dylan has been on my radar. So you guys, I feel like I presented, right? I have presented to you guys a female that was a murderer. Like no male held the person down and she did the killing. The males that she is, that are allegedly, her accomplices are covering it up for her. This female is tiny. Look at the size of her knife. And she accomplished 3 murders and 2 attempts in broad daylight while the killer is awake, alert, responding. So this was my whole point. Now I ask you, how physically strong does the killer really need to be? Or is the real question, how mentally unstably strong does the killer need to be? Wise Angel says they also picked him up 200 miles away. He was in court on Christmas Eve. Bail denied, and next hearing January. CY Kyle says hopefully Ellie knows how to detect when someone is totally lying because they cleared the roommates right away. Yes, but we all know things can be revisited. Just saying. Hey, Joyful. Hello, Sammer Nabel. Good to see you. Ooh, good question from Public Art Critic. Good to see you. And okay, let's get back over. I lost it. Did Jeremy and Ian know each other? Hmm, that is a good question. Katie Bug says adrenaline can make you do unbelievable things too. That's right, Xanimus. You just have to strike right. That's what I've been saying. Okay, listen to me, y'all. In in um in cleaning the bigger fish, right? Um, I don't think I could hit a hammer hard enough to kill the fish in like a big fish. The fish moves. It's just like victims. I'm just saying, a hammer, a blunt instrument, it would take me forever. I'm not strong enough. Now, a male could grab that hammer and come down on that head of that fish, and it's dead on the large fish, even though it has a skull cap and all that, and it would crush the head of this fish. However, when I'm given a knife, I'm a very weak person, but when given a very, 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 very sharp, and I can't express how sharp my knife is, with one blow, boom, you do it with your, just with the weight of the knife. I am telling you, I kill the fish instantly and right through the brain, turn with the little twist of the knife. That big fish lays down flat and I'm able to fillet it and cook it for supper. So, Lala says it's been said that the Corner Club bar turned over their camera footage at the very beginning. Afton Thompson says, that's why I don't dismiss the killer being female. Females are capable of so much more when they are peed off and high on adrenaline. Right, Karen Ann, Lizzie Borden, right? So this is just, a little food for thought, if you will. Um, and why I don't want us to get narrow-minded and why I can't get on board with Steve Gonsalves saying that it is a male because this person had to be super strong. Okay? She would have had no problem killing 4 sleeping victims. And look how tiny she looks. Look. Look at her little hands. Very tiny female. Right? Exploitation Nation USA says, hey, some of these women lift weights. What did Kelly say? I gotta reread. Hold on. Simmer Neville says, I'm sure the killer's names now with the police. I am sure the killer's names. Whoops. Katie Bug says, oh my God. I can't even do this kind of chat, y'all. You should have saw me and Mom fishing together. We had on gloves and pliers and holding a fish, another pair for me, getting the hook out. Right? I've used a stick if I have to. I mean, I fish. I love to fish. Public art critic is asking, is it true that Hannah Clear was bullied by some of them? Still not heard confirmation on that rumor. We haven't. We have no confirmation. Videos wants to know, could the motive be jealous of Ethan? That's a good question. Joyful Dolphin says, hey, Mama D, don't get mad at me. I'm not going to lie. That is a nice knife, though. Just saying. It is pretty. Sad that somebody's that sick, though. Oh, y'all, I'll bet this girl isn't, and we could probably find out, but I'll bet you. Okay, let's look at him. He's Stretch. All right, so his head is way up there. She's standing on the same pole. She's like 5 foot something because he is 7'2"? And look how high his head is on that pole, right? and then look at her head on that pole, or even look at the window. That's what we'll use, the window. So if you think about it, she looks to me like she's 5 foot something, right? I did find it weird that one of her attempted murdered victims' last name was Chapin. Did y'all not find that like really interesting? Whiskey Boots 19 says, I can't explain why I still think it's an older person by a few years, and he was in the childhood of one of the victims. Summer Nabel says, who is this? Okay, Summer, this woman is Joanna Dennehy, and she's a serial killer from 2014. She did get caught. She killed 3 males and attempted to kill 2 others. And she posed for, yeah. Let me get over here so I can see you guys. Sabby VK says, my little sister and I both work for a deer processor. We deal with knives all the time. It isn't about how strong you are. It's about knowing what you are doing in practice. That's my point, Sabby. Thank you. Beautiful point. Miranda says, Christine Pond was very small to manage to stab and kill several people. Peo Lily. Public Art Critic says, I dropped a few questions to Jeremy on channel CD Analysis of a Crime. I ask about the time he walked the dog and some very strange rambling answers. Wise Angel says, I love going fishing. The last time I went fishing was with my late uncle. He cast off. The wind got up and blew the hook back. I felt a tug on my coat. And that was the only thing he caught was me. Oh my gosh, Katie Bug says, when my mom caught a turtle by the butthole, we didn't go anymore. Fun was over. Oh my gracious. All right, my loves, I don't want to keep you on longer than we need to. I know you have a lot to do today. I'm looking forward to our reading tonight. I'm not going to tell you the title or anything about it. I'm just going to let you guess. I hope you had a very Merry Christmas, my beautifuls. And I look forward to talking with you again tonight.